Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you another feature match for the week. This time it is some stuff involving the new stuff from Millennium Ages. We have myself playing a Kaguya 2.0 4-color Sage deck, 6 Sages, and my buddy Gabe from my locals is playing a red-black Cain aggro deck. He wanted me to call it Bad Cain, so he wanted it to be called that, so here we go. I wouldn't really call it a bad deck by any means, but Bad Cain it is. So let's go ahead and just see how it goes. So one thing that's interesting to note is that 6 Sages get kind of greedy, and I bet you're wondering why I'm running Kaguya 2. That's because this is a Spirit Sage version, which uses Aladdin's Lamp, which is a treasury item. So in order to make that search more consistent, I played Kaguya 2, as well as being able to throw some aggression and late game addition stuff with Kaguya. It does use quite a few treasury items, so yeah, it's a pretty interesting build. I like it a lot. Still needs some tweaks, I think, but I wanted to give it a shot. You know, the Millennium Ages had just come out, so I wanted to show you guys what was possible. So Gabe starts with a Hunter in Black Forest, hits me for 300, and then immediately incarnates it for Kaguya, the Flame Spirit, and then hits me for another 500. Very powerful opening move that Rush got, thanks to the wonders of Kaguya just being able to throw out one creature and then incarnate right into another. Unfortunately, I had to start with the Moonstones. I had to start paying life to even be able to put cards on board. So he had to deal with that. So I'm already down to 3,000 in just one turn, so 4th of my life is just gone. See that my list come out on the opponent's, on Gabe's side. Take another 500, putting me down to 25 already. So this round is definitely not going well. And then I hit another Moonstone off the top. That's one of the things that I didn't like about this deck, and I'll go into it more in the deck profile, but I definitely, the dependence on the Moonstones was not something that I really enjoyed. So I had to pay another 200 life there to put out a Feasting. And he just burns me in response. So I'm already down to 2,000. And then he just takes advantage of the fact that he's already moving ahead to throw out a Cain. So 300 damage puts me down to 17. Then I block the 500 with my Feasting, and then he just crashes his my list. Oh, he thought about crashing his my list, but I played the Feasting during his draw step. So he forgot that my list wasn't going to do any damage because I flashed in Feasting during the draw step. So he did still commit to the attack, but that just meant that his my list just died. But then he just incarnates into another Kaguya with his Hunter in Black Forest and kills Feasting anyway. So he's got me at a really good position right now. I'm at 1,700 life. And I'm just going to have to keep burning myself, and he's got Cain on board. So pretty tricky overall. And now I'm paying more life, so I'm already down to 15 for the Golden Bamboo. In order to get one of my Kaguyas. So things are definitely not going that smoothly for me with 6 Sages. This Cain deck is just putting in a lot of pressure really early, and I'm only helping it because of those Moonstones. Let me go ahead and pass to Gabe. So I took the 700 from that, putting me down to 800. Another Hunter in Black Forest. Sorry, 700. Flash in Feasting to stop the Hunter and Black Forest from hurting me. And then he just used Cain to double burn my Elvish Priest and take it out. So, like, yes, I'm being able to kind of slow down his damage, but the fact is, the matter is, I can't get my will cost up high enough to really make anything stick. Which is a problem, because he keeps maintaining my will cost pretty well. So then I have to burn myself for another 200 to play Kaguya. I attack in to get that Hunter Black Forest off the board. So right now I'm very low on life, and yes, I have mood shards so I can tap down things, but I have to pretty much, at this point, I'm pretty much forced to block his Cain constantly. So he thunders my mood shard, and then because of Cain's first strike, I don't even get to trade with the Cain. My hope is that I could trade with Cain, or at least tap down something else that he played before Cain swung in, so I can make better advantage in mood start. So this game really is not going my way at all. Play a Familiar of Holy Wind in hopes that I can draw into something. Unfortunately, I drew into another Familiar of Holy Wind. Doesn't really help me cycling at all, and Cain can just burn them, so they don't really serve as chump blockers. There you go. Like I said, Cain could just burn them for 200 and do a chump block. Attacks in with that Cain, pretty much forced to block it with the feasting. Because again, one more swing from that Cain and I'm done. And at the end of his turn, I flash in another feasting. So one thing that I could have done differently at this point, looking back on it, is I could have actually just J activated for 4, or maybe even 5. Probably only 4 though, because I could only produce Moonwell with 2 of them. And put out Kaguya, because Kaguya would have been able to defend me from Cain, and I could have put out 2 treasury items. So I would have had a wall against the Cain. And I could still have played that Familiar of Holy Wind. I had, 2 other will up. I could have actually set up a nice little wall there. But I didn't think about that. I could have also put my lamp on board, because I could have had 3 treasure items, so I would have had a 1000 Kaguya, and he wouldn't have been able to kill it. Would have really re-established me, and I'd have to operate with low cost. Wouldn't be able to really ramp anymore, but it would have definitely changed the game up a little bit. So in response to the Thunder, I pull out an Elvish Oracle, and then I actually pay it to cancel it, but then he just cancels it anyway, or he pays the extra 1. And then he just untaps. So that really wasn't my smartest move that I could have done, because he was just gonna burn me. So he was gonna spend the cost anyway, and then just untap. So pro tip, don't do that, especially during their untap phase, because if I had saved it for the Susano, I would have been able to cancel the Susano. But because I didn't, my Elvish Oracle just gets wrecked anyway. I have to block, and then Susano has swiftness, so he swings in and kills me anyway. So really could have played that better, but let's go ahead and move on to game 2. So I'm going to be going first. Gonna wait for Gabe to do his mulligans. Don't hit the moonstone off the top, so feeling good about that. I'll go ahead and try to play the Elvish Priest to try to get it to survive, hoping that he doesn't have a Thunder. So one thing that I've noticed about this deck is I almost feel like it doesn't want to work like a typical control deck. I almost feel like Elvish Priest is unnecessary. Like I should just play things a little bit differently and just not worry about turn 1 as much. If you guys have seen Alexander on the YouTube channel, Alexander, he had a really nice 6 Sages list that I'm really interested in. That just completely ignored turn 1. Like he just didn't have 1-drops except for Thunder. I kind of like that idea on my testing. Elvish Priest just dies a lot to any kind of aggro, or if he has a Thunder, it just is like a complete waste of my turn. So there's almost a point where I would just say, just abandon the 1-drops and don't worry about it. Go for a more mid-range kind of feel rather than a control feel. But this was my first attempt, so I wanted to give it a shot. So during my recovery, by paying 200 to get the extra light, I put in a feasting, or not a feasting, a 0, the flashing mage warrior. This card is essentially my new protection from thunders for my creatures. For that familiar Holy Wind, burn myself for 400. Or I think about it. I swing in for 500. First, before I do that, I just had to swing in for 500. He takes it. And then I just pass. So I decided not to play the My List like I was thinking about. I didn't want to worry about risk burning myself quite yet. So I Zeeks, because I had this cancel spells, so I wanted to save my will for that. So I had Zeeks for the Vampire Staff to be able to cancel it. And then I pay another... I go ahead... Oh, I thought about paying another 100 to use my cat to kill it, but I just go ahead and take 300 anyway. So at this point in time, I just kind of commit, and I burn myself for the will to the 400 in order to play my list. Grab a Wind Cat and a Kaguya to kind of start being able to reestablish a little bit, I'm hoping. So I'm able to clear his board. I've got some blockers up. I've got Kaguya. Or sorry, I've got my list to be able to burn some of his low drops. And I've got Feasting the Flashing Mage Warrior to protect my list. That's the cool thing about this deck, is that if you have Zero and MyList out, MyList becomes a really, really powerful blocker because you can use Zero to protect MyList, preventing some of that damage. And so even though he has a 300 defense, he kind of technically has a 600 defense, which for 2-drop is really, really good. So, see that Vampire Staff come out again, and a 40 Thieves. He discards a Fetal Movement in Outer World and a 0 to the Magazine Null. At the end of his turn, I burn his Vampire Staff for 300, then use Kaguya to put another counter on my list, and then burn Vampire Staff again for 300 with my list. I don't want to deal with that burn life gain shenanigans, so I just hard cast it to stop. This is another point where I feel like J activating could have been fine. I could have J activated for 4, grabbed my lamp, and put another bamboo on the field, or probably not a bamboo, but put a Leaves of Yggdrasil on either my 0 or my MyList to keep him safe. Probably my 0. At this point, I would have probably put it on the 0. It's doing more work. But at the same time, MyList is also a heavy target for him to try to kill because he wants to play all those low drops. And if I had done it, then if I had done it this way, then I could have easily just brought it right back because at least Yggdrasil would have supported it. But my hand was full of spirits, and so I didn't necessarily want to be worrying about it. Plus I wanted to take advantage. But again, that was the one thing that I think I could do better if I was playing this deck again, is just don't be afraid to J activate on turn 4. On turn 3, she's imperishable. She's a 1000 blocker. She can do a lot of work, and I just need to not be so dependent on just resonators. So in response to the Loop Guru, I get that Elvish Oracle out, and I use the counter, put more counters on everything else, and then I spend the counter on Feasting to cancel the Loop Guru. So I'm feeling a little bit more secure now. I've got my cancels up, I've got my protection. I go ahead and use my Elvish Oracle to put a counter on my Feasting at the end of my opponent's turn. That's the one thing I do like about the kind of early game plays, is you can just load up so many different counters on all your guys really, really easily. So you play another Kaguya. So by doing it this way, I can just load up on counters almost every single turn. By like leaving Will up during the opponent's turn, I can just quickly replenish counters really, really fast. So moving to combat, I decided to swing in with the little Wind Kitty. He takes that and takes the second one as well, so putting him down to 26. So with the Kaguya that's been on the field that turn, I put a counter on Feasting and then use Golden Bamboo to untap it so it can't get attacked next turn. And I pass to Gabe. So Gabe's thinking about exactly what his line of play is right now. He's got, looks like he's got an Augur, Flames of Outer World, Fetal Movement in Outer World, and a Mylist. There's Mylist coming out. In response to Mylist's Enter effect, I burn Mylist for 300. So Mylist will never even get the counter. That's a really cool play for the mirror match, is if you have Mylist and they summon Mylist, you just burn Mylist with yours in response to its Enter, so that it will never even get the counter. He decides to use Flames of Outer World. He's thinking about what to target. We're talking it through. He decides to go ahead and burn Feasting, or Zero the Flash Mage Warrior, just because it has counters and he wants to stop that damage prevention. So I'm feeling pretty secure at this point. I go ahead and flash at a Feasting at the end of his turn to give more counters and prevent some damage. And then I use my Elvish Priest to give my Mylist a counter, and then I draw for turn. So that, again, like I said, with Kaguyas you can quickly, very quickly, load up your stuff. So during my untap, I still my recovery phase. I spend that last little moon to give my Feasting another counter, and my Mylist another counter. The 2 will that I still had up, and then I move to untap. If you're wondering where that second will come from, I could just use the Feasting. I don't know if I actually tapped it. It's kind of a crazy day, and so pardon my little mini nuanced failures there. It happens. Now's the point where I'm gonna go ahead and J-activate to seal things in, so I can pay. The cool thing is I can pay 2 will of any color and then as many moon as I want. Then I go ahead and J-activate for 5, so I'm gonna be able to grab 3 things. So I grab my lamp, my 1 of lamp, a Leaves of Yggdrasil, and another golden bamboo. So Leaves of Yggdrasil goes on my Feasting. I don't want that Feasting to die, especially since it has 7 counters. But if it does die, I want to be able to come back, because it's pretty much 7 constant cancel spells in my hand. But it's a creature on board. Then I spend my last one to play a Familiar of Holy Wind and just draw another card. So right now, my Kaguya is at 1200, 1000, because I have 4 treasury items out. So I go ahead and just use Mylist to burn him for 1200. Or, I'm sorry, burn it for 900. 3 counters on my list. So Gabe's in a really tough spot right now because having 7 counters, I'm pretty much going to be able to stop him from playing anything at this point. You know, you expect, sometimes you're like, oh, I think my opponent has like a Zeke's and a Cake Zone or something like that. But the thing is, I have 7 counter spells. And I have that leaves of Yggdrasil, and I have the ability to put counters back on it very quickly after it comes back. I decided to let the Flame Spirit go through, thinking about exactly what to block with. I just block it with a Wind Cat. In response to that, though, he flashes it a 0, and I go ahead and cancel the 0, or attempt to cancel the 0 with one of the counters. And he knows that I can just keep canceling it, so he decides to let that go through. Having so many counters on a Featsing essentially makes his hand worthless, especially because there's no Flames of Outer World. If there was a Flames of Outer World in there, he'd be in good shape, because he could just Flames of Outer World Feasting and then use Cain to burn it for an extra 200. But because of my leaves of Yggdrasil that's on it, it would just get to come right back. So I put 3 counters on my list with my 3 Kaguyas, and then I'm able to burn his Cthulhu for the last 300 damage he needs to get it off board. And I would have searched with Spirit with Aladdin's Lamp, but then I drew into one of my genies, so I had a Spirit in my hand. So at this point, I should have just swung in with Kaguya and then burned for game, because Kaguya would be 1200, putting him down to 500, and then I could just burn him for the last 600 to finish it off. But I still wanted to get that genie play in. Attempt to swing it for 500, or for 200. I don't know, that's one of the things that was an issue that I had when I was playing the deck. Is that I wasn't always very keeping in mind my ways to go for lethal. I'm still very new to this deck. I had only built it like 2 days ago, hadn't really gotten to test it very much. So that was definitely one thing that I needed to keep in mind, was I needed to remember all of my ways that I can go for lethal. Like, Kaguya has flying, and she becomes a big beater. I had a lot of small fries that I could use to block. Milas had a lot of counters to be able to burn. I could have closed this game out much faster if I had just thought of it that way. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you are building a Spirit Sage deck or a Sage deck in general, is just be mindful of all the different ways you can go for lethal. Like, be mindful of it. And don't be afraid to attack. Like, just go for it. And also that Kaguya 2 is a beater. Like, she puts in work. Again, I have so many counters on my Feasting that there's pretty much nothing he can do to play any cards from his hand. He plays that auger, cancel it out. Swings in with the Cain. I'm gonna go ahead and block with the Kaguya, and he takes advantage of that and just tries to burn as much as possible. To try to take some stuff off the board before he goes. So I use Kaguya to load up on a feasting, and then before the elf, and then I make my guy unblockable, or my list untargetable. So I search for a spirit with my lamp. Play my Mooch Dart. Have to burn myself for 200 life there to do it, due to how I cast it. But at this point I really wasn't concerned, because I was just going to swing it and then burn him to death. So I play a Legion Yggdrasil on it. So now my Kage is a 1400. I just swing in for the 14, and then I just burn him for 300 to finish it off. I could have just... It didn't really matter either way. That was definitely game. So I've got that one in the bag, despite some weird plays, and we go on to game 3. So game 3, Cain's gonna be going first, which again puts me on a tough situation, because Cain can throw out a lot of damage really quick, and if I hit those burn stones, then I'm really gonna have a problem. Because I don't want to have to burn myself in order to play cards. And there's that Hunter in Black Forest, so 300 damage right out the gate. And then again, I have to play that Elvish Priest, hoping that it doesn't die. There's Milest coming out on his end, and I can't stop it. Take another 300 damage from the Hunter in Black Forest. So put a Wind Kitty to try and draw into something. At the same time, I have that Milest in my hand. I can't play it, but I know the fact that I have to get his Milest off the board, or at the very least, get its counter off of it, so that I can play my Milest. And I have to do it before he J activates, because I'm in a tough situation there as well. So I go ahead and just burn. And then he burns me for another 300 there. So I'm down to 31. And there's that thunder. He actually gets rid of both of his vampire stabs because he's not seeing any of his black, so he doesn't want to worry about it. Swings at me for another 300, taking me down to 28. And then go ahead and just cast his thunder as well. So things aren't going terribly too well for me. I need to figure out exactly how I want to make this happen. I decided to just pass my turn, but then out comes Cain, who's going to make my life very, very difficult very, very quickly. Flash in my feasting. Give her a counter. Go in to block the 40 Thieves. Burns himself for another 200. Plays the Flames of Outer World on my feasting. I can't cancel it because can't chase it. And then we just trade. Which the one thing I don't like about feasting is, yes, it's a counter, but again, I still can't cancel Flames of Outer World. Just the fact that it cannot be chased. It's very, very, very good. And I take another 300 from Black Forest, so I'm down to 25 again already. This grind game is not even a grind game. I'm just getting burned very, very fast. It's going to be very hard for me to kind of keep up with it if I can't commit something to keep me safe soon. As I play that my list out there, having to burn myself for 200. My list is surprisingly good against these aggro decks because a lot of them have that low defense. And so I can just chip away their low drops with my list with his burn effect. Just like that, burning him for 300. Another Hunter in Black Forest comes out. After it's resolved, we go ahead and flash in the feastings to negate its attack and negate its damage for the turn. Take the hit from Cain. So I'm down to 1800. Sorry, 1600. Flames of Outer World comes out again. At the end of the turn, I just go ahead and spend the extra will to just send the counter from my list to burn that Hunter off the board. So this is a point where, again, I'm really having to try to figure out exactly how I want to do this. So I burned myself for 200 to play a Flashing Oracle into play. So actually crash my Elvish Priest into Cain to deal that 100 damage to it. Swing in with my 0, or my list. I don't really know why I spent the counter on my list from 0 at this point, because even if he tries to burn me for 200, which he did, he tried to burn me for 200, it would still, like, my list would still live, and then I just burn him for 300 with the my list counter before my list dies. Again, there was really no point to use my 0 there, because even if he did burn me for 200, my list was going to die. Like, I knew my list was on a suicide mission, so I could have saved that counter on 0 for something better. So really not playing my best for this deck. Got that Kaguya up. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to cancel it. I'll go ahead and just say, just go ahead and cancel that. Let's go through. Play on my Kaguya, be able to start loading up counters. Again, this is another moment where I should have just J-activated. I had a lot of stuff going for me. Could have just slammed down a J-activate, put that creature out on board while his board is clear, and be able to start protecting things. So I swing in for 500. The proper play is I swing in for 500, then I play Genie. Again, Gabe, buddy of my locals, pretty chill guy, lets me kind of go backwards a little bit. Shouldn't have done that. Just keep in mind that if you are going to flash in, if you are going to bounce in a Genie, you might as well swing in with what you're going to bounce with, or spend the will from what you're going to bounce with, because it's just a good card. So he uses Flame, Fetal Movement, and Outer World, and I take 1,000, but here's the thing, guys. This card's actually been errated. Not errated, but I would say it's been mistranslated. It was mistranslated from the Japanese text. The Japanese text actually says that you only you banish everything, or remove from game everything, but you only take 100 damage for every Resonator that was removed from playing, not every single card. It has since been confirmed, but that was confirmed after we recorded this video, so I took the full 1,000 damage. But in actuality, I shouldn't have taken as much damage as I did. See that Luke Guru's coming out. He's debating whether or not he wants to swing in. He decides to go ahead and not. And so I use the Moon Will from Kaguya during the end of the turn to put back up. Again, would have been a good time to J-activate, but I'd get a little greedy and I get some more stones. Play a Wind Kitty, hoping to draw into something different. I'm at that point where those moonstones are practically worthless because I really don't want to burn myself. Swinging for 1,000. He flashes in 0 to try to kill one of my cats. To try to kill my cat and reduce the damage overall that he's going to take. Banishment Kitty in response to deal 300 damage to the Luke-Guru. Not that it's going to do anything, but it's already going to lose anyway. And he lets the attack go through. So he takes 800 because my guy is essentially an 800 because of 0. And I pass turn. So during his recovery phase, I flash in Feasting to make his Luke-Guru not be able to do any damage to me this turn and get another counter on 0, the Flashing Mage. So Gabe goes ahead and plays the my list. Can't stop it, obviously, so it gives me a counter. He's thinking about exactly if and how he wants to attack. Very hard for him to try and do any kinds of attacks right now because of the fact that my 0 has 2 counters, and so I can manipulate damage very easily right now. So he's thinking about it, we're talking about it a little bit. So he goes ahead and just passes turn. I use a Moonwell at the end of the turn to bump up my Feasting, or my 0. The reason why he hasn't used that Milas to try to burn something is just because simply my 0 can protect it. He still could burn me, the player, but it just doesn't happen. So I'm really fed up that I haven't hit any more of my redstones. So I play my list using Feasting to get those extra counters up. Play Golden Bamboo, grab another Kaguya. Now you're gonna watch some really weird stuff happen right here, and that's because I was not playing at like a professional level in terms of like making sure I do everything right, like game mechanics wise. So you see me like pick up that Feasting as if I'd searched for it, and then I play the Kaguya that I searched for right from being on the field. I noticed what I did, and then I was like, wait a minute, why do I have this Feasting in my hand? Put it back on top, and I was like, wait a minute, it was supposed to be on field, and I had it tapped for the red. So I reset things right there. So I've got my list in my hand. So I swing in for 1,000. Blocks with the my list. I burn his my list with my list to kill it. He burns me for 300. So he's not going to take that 1,000 damage, so he's actually down to 600. And then I'm thinking about how is there any way I'm going to be able to kill him. I'm really concerned about that. I'm in thunder range now. And then I'm like, oh wait, he's only at 600. I just need to put a couple counters onto my list. Use my bamboo forest. And then burn him for 600 to finish the game. So that's it. That was Kaguya Spirit Sages versus Bad Cain. And he did have the thunder off the top, so I was dead next turn if I didn't realize that play. So I managed to pull it out. Very close games. Let me know what you guys thought of the matches, what you thought of the decks. Deck profiles will be up on Saturday as always. Big thanks to Gabe for letting me get this game in with him. And so go ahead and guys, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, until next time, this is DMO73 signing off.